It was just another slow night at the Waffle House off Highway 12. Rain drizzled outside, tapping the windows like it was trying to get in. Inside, under the flickering lights, 24-year-old waitress Kayla Carter was balancing 2 plates of bacon and hash browns with one hand and her phone in the other. She was tired. Her feet ached, her tips had been terrible all week, and her patients had already clocked out 2 hours ago. Then he walked in. He looked different. Not in a flashy way. No diamond watch, no designer shoes. In fact, he looked almost too plain. Faded jeans. A wrinkled gray hoodie. A scruffy beard that hadn't met a razor in days. He sat down at the far end of the counter, eyes down, like he didn't want to be seen. Kayla glanced at him once, then rolled her eyes. Probably another broke guy ordering just coffee and hanging around for hours, she muttered under her breath. Her coworker laughed. They'd seen all kinds come through that door. But something about this man bugged her. Maybe it was how quiet he was. Or how he watched the diner like he'd been there before. When she took his order, he didn't even look up. Just said, pecan waffles. Black coffee. Please. His voice was calm. Almost too calm. Kayla plastered on her fake smile and turned to go, already typing something on her phone. She hit record, holding the phone low, catching the man's slouched figure in the corner of the frame. This is what my life's come to, she said into the mic, half joking, half bitter. Serving waffles to men who look like they slept in a dumpster. Say a prayer for me, y'all. She ended the video with a wink and posted it to TikTok with the caption, Waffle House Chronicles, Broke Edition. Within an hour, the video was already getting likes. Comments poured in. He looks like he's hiding from child support. Girl, get that man a comb and a clue. Kayla laughed. She didn't feel guilty. Not really. It was just a joke. Everyone posted stuff like that. It's not like he would ever see it. Except, he did. She didn't notice his eyes flick to her phone. She didn't see the way he watched her, calm, calculating, as if he already knew how this would play out. When she brought the check, he barely glanced at it before pulling out his wallet. She stared when he slipped a few bills into the black folder and stood to leave. Thank you for the waffles, he said, nodding once. And, for the lesson. Kayla raised an eyebrow, confused. She waited until he walked out before flipping the folder open. She gasped. $10,000. In cash. Her hands trembled. Her coworker screamed. Her manager came running. It didn't make sense. Who was this man? Why did he leave that much? And what did he mean by lesson? Kayla's phone buzzed again. A new comment on her video. But this time, the username sent a chill down her spine. And when she tapped it, what she saw next would make her question everything she thought she knew, about him, about herself, and about the price of a careless moment. The username on the comment was simple at the real Elias King. Kayla stared at it, confused. The profile photo was the same man from earlier, the quiet guy in the hoodie, but the background of the image showed something entirely different. A private jet. A massive estate. And in his bio, for words that didn't seem real, CEO. Investor. Billionaire. Survivor. Her throat went dry. Wait, is this a prank? She whispered, heart pounding. She tapped the profile again. Verified. Millions of followers. Videos of luxury homes, press interviews, and charity events. News clips. A post with a Fortune magazine cover titled The Silent Billionaire Who Changed the Game. And there he was. Clean-shaven. In a tailored suit. Smiling, confident, powerful. It was the same man she had just filmed at Waffle House. Only now, she realized, he hadn't been some random broke guy. He was Elias King. The tech billionaire who disappeared from the public eye months ago after a company scandal no one could quite explain. Rumors had said he lost everything. Other headlines claimed he just walked away to test the real world. Kayla's stomach flipped. Her video was now sitting at over 100,000 views. New comments were pouring in. Some were laughing. Some were confused. But a few, they knew who he was. Is that Elias King? Girl, you just roasted a billionaire. I can't believe you disrespected him like that. Huge mistake. Kayla sank into the corner booth, her hand over her mouth. Her manager was still holding the stack of cash, wide-eyed. You need to delete that video. Now, he said. But it was too late. The video was already out there. And worse, he saw it. He commented on it. She clicked into the message he left. Funny how quickly people judge what they don't understand. You never know who's watching. Her hands shook. She didn't know whether to cry, laugh, or run out the back door. This couldn't be real. But it was. And deep down, she knew, he hadn't left that tip as a kind gesture. It wasn't a gift. It was a statement. Kayla thought back to the way he looked at her. Calm. Controlled. Like someone playing chess while she was stuck on checkers. The way he said lesson haunted her. What lesson? Was this just some weird test? Or was he trying to make an example out of her? Her phone buzzed again. A direct message. From him. She hesitated, then opened it. Kayla. We need to talk. Meet me tomorrow. 8 a.m. at the same table. She read it 3 times. He knew her name. She never told him her name. Her heart skipped. She felt like the floor under her was shifting. Her coworkers were still whispering, phones in hand, eyes flicking between her and the door. I think you're in trouble, one of them said. No kidding. All she had done was film a 30-second video, meant to make a few people laugh. Now, she was the main character in a story that felt too big to control. Her face was tied to a moment of judgment, one that could follow her forever. And tomorrow, she'd have to face him again. But something told her, this wasn't about revenge. This was about something else. Something much deeper. She just didn't know what yet. Kayla barely slept that night. Her mind kept spinning, replaying every second of the video she posted, every word he said, every expression she missed. Her shift ended at 2 a.m., but she stayed up, scrolling through Elias King's profile, trying to understand who this man really was. His online presence painted a picture far from the slouched figure who ordered pecan waffles. He was known for building one of the biggest tech startups in the country, for disappearing at the height of his fame, and for donating millions to causes most billionaires ignored: education, homelessness, mental health. Yet here he was, showing up at a Waffle House, alone, unnoticed, until her camera caught him. As the sun rose, she stood in her bathroom mirror, brushing her hair for the 5th time. She didn't know what to wear, what to say, or how to even look him in the eye. The world now saw her as the waitress who mocked a billionaire, and no matter how hard she wished it away, that video wasn't going anywhere. When she got to the diner, her coworkers were already buzzing. Phones out. Whispers floating around her like smoke. He's coming back, right? Why do you think he asked you to meet him? You're about to be famous for all the wrong reasons. Kayla ignored them and walked straight to the booth. The same one. The far corner. It was empty, for now. She slid in, her palms clammy, her eyes flicking to the door every few seconds. At 8:03, he walked in. Same hoodie. Same calm. Except this time, he looked directly at her. She stood as he approached, but he just gestured for her to sit. Then, quietly, he slid into the seat across from her. No small talk. No smile. I imagine you have questions, he said, voice low. Kayla swallowed hard. A few. Elias nodded. Good. Because I have some too. Before she could speak again, a waitress, one she didn't recognize, came over. "Coffee for both?" He nodded. Kayla just stared. "I know you didn't mean to go viral," he said once the waitress left. "But the question is, did you mean what you said?" Kayla looked away. "It was a joke. A dumb one. You thought I was homeless." "I didn't think anything. I assumed. And I shouldn't have." He watched her for a long moment. Not judging. Just watching. "I come here sometimes," he said finally. "Places like this. Not because I want to be recognized, but because I don't." Kayla furrowed her brow. Why would a billionaire want to hide in a Waffle House? He gave a small, almost bitter smile. "Because it's the one place people don't pretend around you. They just are." Then, he leaned forward slightly. "Until someone pulls out a phone." She winced. "I'm not here to humiliate you, Kayla," he continued. "But you made a choice. And that choice opened a door you can't close." Her heart pounded. "What does that mean?" He reached into his coat pocket and slid a small envelope across the table. She opened it with shaky hands. Inside, a business card. King Legacy Foundation. Personal assistant, pending review. She blinked. "What is this?" "It's a test," he said. "A second chance, or maybe your first real one." Before she could respond, he stood. "I'll be in town for 3 more days," he said. "Decide carefully." Then he walked out, again, leaving Kayla alone in the booth, staring at the card. Behind her, 2 teenagers at the next table whispered, one showing the other the now viral video on his phone. And just like that, Kayla realized, the story wasn't over. It was just getting started. Kayla sat in that booth long after Elias had gone, staring at the card like it might disappear if she blinked. Her heart beat in her throat. A job? With him? After what she did? The buzz around the diner had only grown louder. Customers were filming themselves in the booth, tagging the place, hoping to get a piece of the moment. Some asked Kayla for photos. Others didn't bother whispering when they laughed about her. She felt like she was stuck in a storm of her own making, with no way out. Back home, she locked her door and shut off her phone. But the silence didn't help. She kept thinking about Elias's face, how calm he was, how direct. He hadn't yelled. He hadn't insulted her. He'd simply offered her something strange. A job wrapped in mystery. A chance. Or maybe a test. She couldn't tell which. The next morning, she got up early. No makeup. No filter. Just real. She walked out her front door and took a city bus across town to the address on the card. Her palms were sweaty the whole way. The King Legacy Foundation building looked nothing like what she expected. It wasn't a shiny skyscraper downtown. It was a quiet 3-story brick building tucked between a church and an elementary school. Inside, everything was minimal. No gold, no flash. Just warm lighting, soft voices, and people who looked focused. Driven. A woman at the front desk smiled when Kayla gave her name. "We've been expecting you. Mr. King is in a meeting but asked that you sit in on it." Kayla blinked. "Wait, what?" Before she could say more, she was being led down a hallway and into a glass-walled room. Inside, a dozen people sat around a large table. At the head was Elias. He looked up the moment she entered, gave a small nod, and gestured to the empty seat beside him. No words. No introduction. Just that look again, watching, reading her. She sat, every cell in her body tense. The meeting wasn't about business deals. It was about a new project, an outreach program for low-income youth. Scholarships, housing support, mentorship. As the others spoke passionately about logistics and funding, Kayla slowly realized something. They weren't just building programs. They were changing lives. And she didn't belong here. She shrunk in her chair, trying to make herself invisible. Every word reminded her of the video she'd made, the way she'd judged someone without knowing a thing about them. She didn't understand why Elias brought her here. To show her how small she was? To make her feel guilty? When the meeting ended, people stood and shook hands, smiling. Except Kayla. She just sat frozen, unsure if she was supposed to leave or wait. Elias finally turned to her. "Walk with me." They moved down a quiet hallway lined with framed photographs. Kids smiling. Community centers. Old black and white images of Elias's childhood. A rougher side of him. A past he didn't hide. "I grew up in places like the ones you joked about," he said quietly. "I was the kid nobody took seriously. The one people assumed would never make it." Kayla opened her mouth, then closed it. He stopped walking and looked at her. "You think this is about the video? But it's not." She stared at him, confused. "It's about what you do next." Then he pulled open a door. Inside was a small conference room, with her video frozen on a screen. A panel of people sat at the table. Men and women. Some older. Some young. All watching her closely. Elias stepped aside. "They're not here to judge your past," he said. "They're here to decide your future." And with that, he walked away, leaving Kayla standing alone under the harsh light, her face glowing on the screen behind her, as the room waited. Kayla stood frozen, her eyes locked on the video still playing behind her, the very moment she mocked Elias King at the Waffle House, captured for thousands to see. The silence in the room felt heavier than any judgment she'd imagined. The panel members exchanged looks, their faces unreadable. It was like being under a microscope, every mistake magnified, every misstep scrutinized. Just when she thought the tension couldn't grow thicker, Elias's voice cut through the quiet. "There's one more thing you should know," he said, his gaze sharp, holding hers. Kayla's heart pounded. She braced herself, expecting the worst. "You're not the only one watching your video," he continued. "Not by a long shot." Before she could ask what he meant, the screen flickered. The video shifted. A new clip appeared. One she hadn't seen before. It showed her, but from a different angle. From outside the diner. Someone else filming. Someone familiar. Her breath caught. The camera zoomed in, revealing a man standing just beyond the window, watching her and Elias closely. "Who's that?" Kayla whispered. Elias's eyes darkened. "That's Marcus Hale. My former partner. The one who betrayed me and forced me out of my company." Kayla's mind raced. She'd heard rumors about Elias's scandal, but nothing this personal. Marcus was a shadowy figure in the business world, ruthless, cunning, with a reputation for taking down anyone who got in his way. "And he's been following me," Elias said. "Watching my moves. And now, he's watching you." Kayla felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't just about a viral video anymore. It was a game of power, revenge, and secrets that ran deeper than she could imagine. "Why me?" she asked, voice barely steady. Elias looked away, then back. "Because you're part of the story now. And because Marcus wants to use this, your video, your mistake, to destroy everything I'm trying to rebuild." Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, hands shaking. A new message. From an unknown number. "Stop digging or you'll regret it." Kayla's eyes widened. The warning was clear. Elias reached out, placing a steady hand on hers. "This isn't just about money or fame anymore. It's about trust, loyalty, and survival." The panel members watched silently, but Kayla knew they understood. The stakes had just gone from high to life-changing. Her reckless joke had opened a door. But now, walking through it meant stepping into a world filled with shadows she never knew existed. And the clock was ticking. She glanced at the envelope in her other hand, the invitation to join Elias's foundation. Was it an opportunity? Or a trap? She had to decide. But one thing was certain, nothing about this story was simple anymore. Not the man she mocked. Not the life she thought she had. And certainly not the future waiting for her on the other side of that door. Kayla's hands trembled as she stared at the message on her phone, the warning hanging heavy in the air like a storm about to break. The room around her felt smaller, tighter, the faces of the panelists watching her like silent judges in a courtroom. Elias's steady gaze gave her a flicker of strength, but inside, her mind raced. What had she truly stepped into? That evening, as the foundation's building emptied, Elias pulled Kayla aside. "Marcus won't stop," he said quietly. "He's already leaked false stories about me online. If he uses your video as fuel, it could ruin both of us." Kayla swallowed hard. "What can I do?" Elias's voice dropped to a whisper. "We fight back. Together." The next days blurred. Kayla found herself thrown into a whirlwind of meetings, media appearances, and strategy sessions with Elias's trusted team. The foundation's work, once just an abstract idea to her, now became a battleground for reputation and survival. Then, the moment came. A live-streamed press conference where Elias faced the public, ready to expose Marcus's manipulations and clear his name, with Kayla standing by his side. As cameras rolled, Elias's calm confidence contrasted sharply with Kayla's nervous energy. But just as Elias began to speak, a new video surfaced online, one that stopped Kayla's breath. It was her again. But this time, the clip showed her from years ago, caught in a heated argument with a coworker. The tone was harsh, the words biting. The video painted her as someone unkind, vindictive even. It was clear someone was trying to undermine her credibility. Elias caught the look on her face. "I didn't expect this," he admitted. "Marcus's people are digging deep." Kayla felt the weight of it all crashing down. But then, something inside her snapped. She stepped forward, voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. "I'm not perfect," she said to the cameras, "and I made a mistake with that video. But I've learned from it. I'm here because I believe in second chances, for Elias, for me, and for anyone willing to do better." Her honesty struck a chord with the viewers. The live chat flooded with support. People wanted to believe in her, in the story beyond the mistakes. Elias nodded at her, a quiet gratitude shining through. The conference ended with a promise: they would rebuild together, stronger. Weeks later, just as things seemed to be settling, Kayla received a call from an unknown number. Heart racing, she answered. "Hello, Kayla. I'm Marcus." The voice was cold, calm, almost amused. "You think you've won? This is far from over. You've only just entered my game." Kayla swallowed hard, the past and future colliding in that chilling moment. But then Marcus dropped the real shock. "I want you on my side." The line went dead. Kayla stared at her phone, the weight of that invitation heavier than any tip she'd ever received. In a story that began with a cruel joke, a $10,000 tip, and a billionaire's unexpected kindness, the final truth was clear: nothing was as it seemed, and her real test was just beginning. Kayla sat quietly after the call ended, her mind racing faster than ever. Marcus's unexpected offer hung in the air like a challenge she wasn't sure she was ready to accept. The man who had tried to destroy Elias now wanted her on his side? It felt like something out of a movie, and yet, this was her life now. But as the days went on, Kayla realized something important. She wasn't just a bystander anymore. She was a player. A person who had stumbled into a world far bigger than herself, filled with power struggles, second chances, and lessons about humility and courage. That $10,000 tip at the Waffle House wasn't just a generous gesture, it was a turning point. With Elias's support, Kayla threw herself into the King Legacy Foundation's work. She helped organize community outreach events, worked with kids in after-school programs, and even shared her own story publicly to inspire others. The foundation wasn't just about money or fame, it was about real change, and Kayla found herself believing in that mission more than she ever expected. The viral video that once threatened to define her became a symbol of growth. Kayla's honesty and willingness to learn earned her respect, not just from the Foundation's team but from strangers around the world who followed her journey. It was proof that mistakes don't have to be the end, they can be the start of something new. As for Marcus, his messages slowed and eventually stopped. Whether he was testing her or trying to intimidate, Kayla never took the bait. Instead, she focused on building a future that wasn't tied to fear or past errors. Elias and Kayla's unlikely friendship deepened into a partnership grounded in trust. They both knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Power and envy would always lurk in the shadows, but they were ready to face it, together. One afternoon, Kayla stood again at the Waffle House where it all began. The familiar hum of the diner, the smell of syrup and coffee, the chatter of regulars, it felt different now. Not just a place to work but a reminder of how far she'd come. She smiled quietly to herself, thinking about the cruel joke she once posted and how it had changed everything. Sometimes, life throws you into situations you never expect. People you underestimate might be the ones who teach you the most. And a single moment, even one caught on a phone camera, can change your path forever. Kayla reached into her pocket and touched the business card from the King Legacy Foundation. It was more than a card now. It was a symbol of growth, forgiveness, and the chance to rewrite your story. Her journey wasn't perfect. It was messy, surprising, and sometimes terrifying. But it was hers. And she was ready for whatever came next. As the diner door jingled and a new customer walked in, Kayla glanced up with a renewed sense of hope. The world was watching, not just her, but all of us, waiting to see what happens when kindness meets courage, and second chances become real. Her life had been changed by a $10,000 tip, a viral video, and a billionaire's unexpected generosity. But the true lesson? That we all have the power to change, to grow, and to make a difference, no matter where we start. And sometimes, the biggest surprises come when you least expect them.